Two things every crafter wants to know: how to get free SVG files and how to do a bigger print and cut with your Cricut. First, where to get your free files. Over on designbundles.net, we actually have a place called free resources, and I'll have them linked down below. There is hundreds of designs. So this is just a few of our new release ones. We just released these brand new free files. So today I'm actually going to be using this one right here, and I'm going to show you how to use your Cricut print and cut feature to make a bigger design. Because with something like this, if we bring it down to Cricut's 9.25 by 6.7, it's going to be quite little. So how can we hack the system? Let me show you how. All right, so now that we're over here in Cricut Design Space, as you can see, I've already sized it out to the 9.25, but then it gives me 8.947 high. I don't want to bring this down any further, or we're gonna have a teensy tiny design on our great big t-shirt, right? So we definitely don't want to do that. Now, if we had contour available, as you can see, it's not, but if we did, we could duplicate this design and then just delete half and half of the design, and that way we could match those up later. But since we don't have that, what we're going to go ahead and do is grab a shape. We're going to grab a square here, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this thing in half. So I'm just going to figure out where I think half is. You don't have to do it right in half. You could definitely do whatever is going to work best for you. We're going to select both of those pieces. You can tell that both pieces are selected because they're both highlighted gray. And then we're going to hit slice. So from here, we're going to go ahead, once it's got it sliced for us, we're going to go ahead and delete the pieces we don't want, like the square, and then we'll go ahead and get rid of this gray layer. So as you can see, it's going to leave us with two pieces like this. And if you notice on the side, we have no warning from Cricut telling us that they're too big. So now we have two different pieces. So over in my printer, I'm just using an HP inkjet printer. I have two pieces of this new Siser DTV, direct to vinyl. So I have these loaded in the printer, and the way that I have them loaded is the white side. So mine's gonna come through the back. I'm printing on the white side. So if you fold it over, you can see a tinge here of green. Yours may be different, I don't know, but I'm hoping they're all the same. But it should have a tinge. This is the side you're not going to print on. You wanna print on the white side, right? All right, and then the next thing you're gonna need is a piece of transfer that belongs to this. So Siser has their very own transfer that's gonna go along with this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to send this to the printer. So we're gonna hit make it. Now the really cool thing about this is, yes, it's heat transfer vinyl, but we don't need a mirror. So you can see that here is our print and cut pieces. Perfect. And so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and hit continue. I've got my machine turned on here, and I'm gonna go ahead and send over my very first one to the printer. So you can turn the bleed line on or off if you would like to. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to turn the bleed line off for this one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hit print. All right, so once you have it printed out, it should look something like this. I'm going to go ahead and load this on my green mat. It's just gonna help hold on to it a whole lot better. All right, so I have to show you my rookie mistake, and I swear I do this every single time. So if you do too, you're not alone. So when it comes to the print and cut, I always want to lay it this way. Make sure that you pay attention to your screen and the way that it's on there. So it should actually be turned in this direction here. So we're going to rub this in one more time. Now we're ready to load it. So we're gonna go ahead and load that just like so. And so I'm gonna say I've already printed. It's gonna ask me again. I'm gonna choose the same everyday iron on. It's gonna run through here again. So like I said, just make sure that you have it loaded in the correct direction. All right, so we're gonna unload our very first one here. So we're going to remove this one, and then we're going to send our next one to the printer. So we're gonna hit the send to the printer again, and then print. Same settings, everyday iron on, and then we're gonna go ahead and choose less. We have our very last one here, so we wanna make sure and pay attention that we get it on the correct direction on the side here. We're gonna get it on there just like so. Smooth everything out, and then we're gonna go ahead and load it one last time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit the go button here. So while we're cutting out that very last one, I'm actually gonna scoot this guy over just a little bit, and we're gonna go ahead and start to weed out this one here. So this is super duper thin material. If you guys have not played around with it yet, it is very, very thin compared to Everyday Iron-On or Siser EasyColor HTV. So you can see that it's already starting to peel here. So we're just gonna go ahead and get us a corner and start to weed out the majority here. And you may need to stop and kind of push on it a little bit since we use those settings as well. All right, so we're gonna unload our next piece here, and then we're gonna go ahead and weed it as well. Now, the one thing I will say right away about this material is I do love how thin it is on the t-shirt and things like that. But when it comes to cutting out very small, intricate pieces like this, it can get a little bit finicky. So you guys can kind of see how that cuts out on my mat here. And so far, this has happened to me every time I use it. So I do want to point that out. If you guys are new to Cricut, this one may be a little bit of a more intermediate because you are going to have to slow down and really pay attention to these pieces. But it is going to be possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish weeding. All right, so I've actually had some issues weeding. So whenever it comes to intricate designs like this, I have found that it is a little bit finicky with the Siser's direct to vinyl. So it just really wants to pull off of here. I've tried a couple different cut settings and I've really had some issues. Now, if you were doing big pieces like this, you are good to go. So if you were doing the entire outline, it's absolutely perfect. But when it comes to small pieces, it's been quite finicky. So what I'm actually going to do, and that I have done, is for the next half of it, I'm actually using Starcraft, their dark material. So basically this is the same thing. It is direct to vinyl. It's printable printable, I can't even say that correctly. It's printable HTV, and this one is for darker garments. So they have a lighter one and they have an opaque. So the one for the darker just has a white background, so it pops off, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and try to weed this one out. And if I can, I'll try to get these two pieces together. If not, I may have to recut out the top one. So we're gonna go ahead and weed this here really quickly. So as you guys can see, and I'm sure you guys have seen from where I was weeding this out before, I just used Everyday Iron-On and it works like a dream. So I have to tell you guys, if you're wanting a printable, and I have used this one in some tutorials here on the channel, about a year back. We've done a few different videos, and look at how that we did it like a dream. I did the Everyday Iron-On settings for this, and it cut out perfectly. And as you can see too, it's staying on my sheet like this compared to this one. See how this one's popping off? And then when I go to pop down with that transfer, it actually will kind of do like a static cling thing and want to pick your pieces up. So if you guys are working with that new Siser direct to vinyl, please be careful. And also keep in mind, there is other stuff on the market that's a little bit better. In my honest opinion, I have to say that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and weed out these last couple pieces here just like so. All right, so what I'm going to do is I've got to pick up one piece and then the next. So these are two different types, and I'm actually just gonna go ahead and still work with both of the different ones here. And so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is use a mask to pick these up. And I'm just gonna use the one for Siser to pick them both up here. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and start with our top piece here. And I'm going to try to just pick up the black pieces and the pumpkin and these, and I'll come back for that word pumpkin here in a bit. So what I'm gonna do is just carefully go right on top, just like so. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over, and then I'm really gonna just focus in on, like I said, the black words as well as that pumpkin. So I'm just going to rub it down just like this to get it to transfer over to the carrier sheet. All right, so what I'm gonna do is very carefully peel this off. All right, so I'm trying to keep that pumpkin up here because I'm gonna try to piece those pieces together here in a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off those remaining pieces and just set them aside. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take the first part of our design here. So we're just gonna go ahead and line it up on our t-shirt. You wanna be around 3 or 4 fingers down. So I'm gonna go ahead, I see a little piece here we need to remove. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go 310 for 15 seconds. Now I'm gonna do the entire 310 for 15 seconds on this one, and then we're gonna come into the next piece. All right, so we're gonna move this one out of the way. All right, so this is a warmer hot peel, so we're gonna go ahead and just grab a corner here and peel. So I will say now, number one, if you're working with a colored garment like this orange one here, this is a Gildan soft style. You're gonna notice that the color has changed. That's just moisture. It will change back to the other color as soon as it dries down, so don't worry about a thing. All right, so I've actually decided to switch this up just a little bit. Just another tip for you, instead of trying to piece these together, especially since I had the issue with the Siser direct to vinyl, if I was only using the Starcraft one, I could definitely piece these together like butter. So you could definitely do two different pieces of the Starcraft. Once again, I'll have it down below, the printable the printable HTV, if you will. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is, since I have the two different ones, instead of trying to piece together pumpkin, I cut it out in glitter. So this is another idea for you. So I just went ahead, I'm trashing the word pumpkin and I cut it out in glitter. So what I did over on Cricut Design Space was I changed it from a print and cut to a cut. Then I used contour, got rid of everything, and just kept that word pumpkin, and I did it in a really gorgeous glitter. So for our next piece, we're gonna go ahead and go down with that word pumpkin here. So we're gonna do that. I'm just going to cover this with a piece of parchment. We're gonna go back on top and hit go. All right, so we're gonna move that out of the way. And then we're gonna go ahead and peel this one as well. Now I will have to go back on top of this one final press with that last piece, as it's gonna need some more heat since this doesn't really require that much. But look at how cute that's coming out. All right, so for my final piece, I have used the Starcraft, like I said. What ended up working, not the transfer sheet, the one that I pulled off of my glitter vinyl, so it has more of a stick to it. I did get a little bit of paper on here, but it's completely fine. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up just like so. So we're gonna cover that last piece up, and then I'm gonna go over that one. I'm gonna cover my glitter vinyl one more time because I need a little bit more heat and time on it. So we're doing 310 for 15 seconds one last time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and lift that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and very carefully peel. All right, so I'm gonna actually do one final press. I'm gonna go on top of everything, and I'm gonna press one last time for 15 seconds. So this is covering everything. I wanted to make sure that my glitter got a nice press. So this is the very last time. And there you guys have it. I love the way this one came out. It is so, so cute. So I hope you guys have found some tips and tricks along the way, but you can definitely get a bigger print and cut with your Cricut. So number one, I showed you guys where to get your free SVG files. And number two, I showed you guys how you can accomplish a bigger print and cut using your Cricut. Now we had a few issues and bumps along the way, but we have half Siser direct to vinyl, and then we have half of the Starcraft printable ink, what do you call that, HTV, if you will, and then we've got a little bit of that sparkle glitter. So you can definitely mix this up and do whatever you guys would like. Once again, all the supplies I'm using you can find linked down below. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.